Is currently 9:35 a.m. It's Monday, July 15, 2024. And this is for understanding the greater pattern of conduct, okay? What I'm documenting in 2024 is that which I have remained subject to for years. The same exact pattern of conduct is what is underway while I am in a different location, and I'm showing you that's the significance of recognizing the pattern, because it's a scientific impossibility that the environment would be what the environment is, and that you have this spectacular pattern of conduct behavior amongst the population while in that phenomenon, which is that environment. It's referred to so that for purposes of understanding what it is that I'm talking about when I'm referencing and making a contrast between the natural environment and the specific environment where the crime scene is realized and where nothing but criminal activity of the most malicious form is underway by a government, a public entity in the United States. This is in the U.S. This is in California. Okay, so this is, let me clear off. One second. Let me clear off my phone. All right, so the entity is maintaining the specific environment on this day in 2022. It's July 15, 2022. I am nowhere near Los Angeles. I'm not in Los Angeles County. I am literally in the parking lot in Rancho Cucamonga, feet away from the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, notably a facilitating venue where there's no pause of the criminal system. What I'm showing you is that every courthouse, every police department, every sheriff's department, all right, every venue, every address, every business establishment, every parking lot, every park, every roller skate, every bowling alley, every car dealership, every bathroom, okay, is a facilitating venue where state surveillance is underway in the United States. This is a complete farce regarding the free society that we think we're in. You only think it. It's not based on reality. And when you realize and pay attention to things that are in front of your face, you just had not realized what's in front of your face. And then you are understanding the significance of all the behavior that's occurring around you. And you are able to recognize with your own eyes. Okay, I'm not speaking to things that you don't see. I'm not speaking to things that you can't hear. I'm only speaking to what you cannot see spiritually. And I'm giving you that which you can see in the natural, and you are capable to be fully aware of what's going on spiritually around you. And that's for your own benefit. That's for such a time as this. The Lord Jesus wants that to be known. That's what I'm speaking to. Okay? But it is evidence through what any and everyone can see. We can look at this and reason together. The P.O.C. does not require anyone to leave their common sense outside of the room. By the way, it's not only limited to some permitted population of people. It's only for exclusive people that have a specific form of access, which is born of a lie, by the way. Any truth of God, that's not going to be rooted in truth when you have such exceptions, okay, and conditions. That's not truth, okay? That's cult-like, by the way. So this is something that everyone can observe with your own eyes. And all I'm doing is I'm giving you context regarding this is what Satan does not want you to know that he is doing, and how Satan does not want you to recognize his presence, okay? So this is, in other words, a study in the spiritual. And the spiritual is all around us. It is the agenda, not only in this world, but by the enemy. And Satan is your enemy, the enemy of your soul. Whether you recognize Satan is real or not is irrelevant, to be honest with you. It does not cease to be the fact that he is an enemy of your soul, and it is to his benefit, to your demise, that you fail to recognize the fact that you are a spirit, and spirituality surrounds you on a daily basis. Okay, you're being oblivious to it doesn't change that reality. Just like you're calling the sun neon green, it does not make it neon green. It remains blue. Okay, it remains something that is remaining over you everywhere that you go, contrary to the sun. That's not the appearance of the sun, nor is that the behavior of the sun. The sun's in constant movement, as opposed to maintaining perpetual presence, meaning having some presence that is ubiquitous, if you will. Only the sky that's contrasted with the sun. All right, so that's just an example. What you heard is the use of a communication device while criminal activity is underway, and that's Title 18. That's for purposes of monitoring me while a whole entity, which is again a demon-possessed one, is witnessing me and listening to me and continuously monitoring and targeting me while I am simultaneously exposing it and prosecuting it. it. So pay attention. That's all that's going on. On this day in 2022, I am not at Alvarado Gardens. I'm not in Los Angeles. I'm not in Los Angeles County. I am inside of a parking lot of Rancho Cucamonga, and I am literally feet away from the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, which is located at 8303 Haven Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga. This white BMW is engaging in what is criminal activity. It's called crossing a path. And it's criminal, and your ability to recognize the fact that it's criminal is not only based on the fact that at the same time in Los Angeles on this day in 2024, the sun is directly over my head in this position. And the behavior that's occurring in this environment that you see on this day in 2024, even at the time, 9:26 a.m., it is relevant, and it is exposing a criminal system that's underway in the state of California in the greater context that this is a criminal system that's underway here in the United States. And so on this day in 2022, I documented the environment that surrounded me. And the natural environment, it is not one that would have what you are looking at in this video.
ZJT584.
So this is the light source that's directly over my head. That white BMW is crossing path. They do so with acting in sync with the person that drove me to this location, Tracy Banks. Tracy Banks is a third party. This happens to be a third party group stalker whose name I know. That's it. Not different from the group stalker that is stalking in a helicopter in the same exact specific environment here in Los Angeles, and I don't know their name, nor do I have to know their name. But you know, by virtue of identifying the behavior, identifying the environment, that they are both demon possessed and they're both engaged in a criminal system, and they are the same entity acting together. And you know that but based on what is a specific environment on at 8:54 a.m. and what I'm showing you on this day in 2024 at 9:26 between 9:26 and 9:30 a.m. So in Rancho Cucamonga, there's no point where the sun is going to maintain any sort of presence in Los Angeles over the Alvarado Gardens, outside of my leasing office, in any position over my head, creating any sort of sunlight touching all over this property where the entity is maintaining presence in helicopters, which happens to be the hallmark, the symptom, the direct indicator that is criminal state action, where that unnatural environment consists of stalking, terrorism, harassment by the government that uses helicopters to do so in California. The entity is maintaining this light source over me in Rancho Cucamonga, and it's stalking in an airplane as I document amplification while a plane is at a great distance, heightened in elevation because you can't even see it on the camera, but yet the volume is heard. That's called amplification, and it is your ability to see amplification, which is something that you can hear. I'm referencing what you can see because by virtue of not even being able to see the plane, meaning there's no commercial airline plane hovering over the parking lot, which Satan often does in order to provide a visual explanation for what you are audibly witnessing, which it is not an explanation. It is the same pattern where a fake sun is over me, amplifying the volume of what you see, and you know that deception because when the plane is not even visible, you have the same amplification. Satan is a liar. All he does is engaging in what is tap dancing before you, hoping that you give into it and that you believe in it, that you don't apply any independent thought actually at all. That's required, because all Satan does is he'll do the same thing flying at a low elevation in an airplane. And I'm referencing Satan because these are the demon possessed. They have the spirit of Satan on them. Satan is doing nothing other than acting through a population. That's why I am not mincing words. This is what Satan is doing. Satan will fly at a lowered elevation in an airplane, and that's supposed to be the explanation for the heightened volume of the plane that you see. But you have the same amplification in the absence of a plane that you can see at a great distance. So where is that sound coming? That's the ability to see the amplification that's always occurring. Always. It's not different. Okay, so this is what I've also shown through the demon-possessed behavior of the Los Angeles Police Department. Flying at a great distance, even showing their demon possession while flying in a circle at a great distance while a fake sun remains over me. And it is equally amplified inside of my apartment and or my office and in that specific environment where the people of the state are group stalking with that government. Everything the state does, so the people do in that same environment, and they will be prosecuted together accordingly, pursuant to the system that they sought to act against an American citizen in. There's no separating it when that government continues to defy the rights of an American citizen and you want to hide inside of your apartment. Oh, you will still be prosecuted nonetheless. Just like you would have if you thought that you would get away with it and you would openly engage in threatening me by walking right in front of my face. It's not different. You're still in the path. You're group stalking. Okay, so understand that as well. The entity that's engaged in surveillance online knows every step of that exposure, knows everything that you're doing to enforce your rights, hiding in your apartment, maintaining presence outside of my view, is equally threatening and criminal, and you will be prosecuted for it. That same impunity is going on your account, and that federal judge will not forget that when you are charged and told how many years you're going to federal prison for engaging in terrorism in the U.S. So the entity is doing so, and stalking in a helicopter here at Alvarado Gardens in an environment where the son would never be capable of maintaining presence in the same manner in Rancho Cucamonga in a parking lot feet away from 8303 Haven Avenue, which is the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, where, by the way, the fake son is documented over my head at 9:42 in the morning, June 23rd, 2022, and at 10:29 in the morning on June 23rd, 2022. It's currently 9:46. The fake son still remains here. I've already given you video speaking to the light source while I'm in the workplace, while I'm inside of my apartment, okay? It's not the sun. It's a light source where LAPD is engaging in telling the world the fact that they are demon possessed and telling the world that they are indeed a terrorist organization and not a law enforcement agency. And they will be prosecuted for that. And they will be given the rehabilitation resources that they need in order to, in every way, neutralize the threat that they pose to themselves, to the public, and also to those who are connected to them. Okay, and that's shown on its face. You're stalking in helicopters, you bear weapons, you act maliciously, wanting to appear in public as one thing, and you are in every regard far from that, based on that system that you sought to engage in maliciously and surreptitiously, and to the demise of an American citizen having no basis. It is antithetical to the role that you're supposed to play, actually, in America. It's antithetical to your position, and it's un-American. It is in every regard showing what is under all circumstances seen as nothing less than a public safety threat. That is all those that make up the Los Angeles Police Department, and they are acting in conformity to a pattern of conduct by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, who are in Rancho Cucamonga, group stalking. The Ontario Police Department, group stalking. Okay, this is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis, stalking me in an airplane in this parking lot where the fake sun remains
Talking
over.
about airplane. A very small white plane flying over Haven Market. It's amplified in sound. That's how I know this small little plane is present, which is the P.O.C. fake sun over my head. And look who's dropping me off. This is P.O.C.
That's called relevant positioning, and the white BMW that was driving by crosses path with Tracy Banks while the airplane is the provision of audible activity. This is an act of surveillance. This is an act of keeping me monitored. It's an act of terrorism while demons are doing this on a 24-hour basis. Okay, and this is the ability for strangers. Let me be clear. Tracy did not meet with this third party that's driving this BMW. Tracy Banks, okay? This is demon possession at work. Different people, multiplicity of faces, including the demon flying an airplane at a great distance. And they have the same demonic spirit that is operating all over all of them together. That's how they're in sync. That's how you have a system that is seamlessly in operation while a demonic environment remains surrounding me at all times. That's how you have the seamless and in sync behavior of the demon possessed and the demonic environment. As I've referenced, as you've documented, the real-time mutation of that engineered light on my ceiling inside of my apartment, the more that I speak to the demonic environment, the more that I speak to the repercussions of the people of the state and the government who are group stalking in that environment. You saw that engineered light mutate on my ceiling wall. That's how you have that. It is the presence of Satan, which you are capable of discerning. You are witnessing it yourself, and then you are aware of the condition of all those in that environment, and you know that it is in sync with that demonic environment. You're witnessing demon possession, you're witnessing demonic activity, and that is how you are able to see the invisible. You may not be able to discern that spirit of Satan on a person, but you are capable of knowing what is operating over them, and you're able to enforce your rights against them because it's a criminal act. Because it's not an individual acting, violating your rights. That is the state that's maliciously acting through a third party. It's an agency, a criminal agency. All right, and it is also simultaneously exposing what is demon possession, and the government will be prosecuted for engaging in such a method of terrorism. Not only the fact that you're stalking in helicopters, stalking as police, part of police departments, but the fact that you're doing so and you're demon possessed in doing so. That's just an enhancement to what is terrorism, and the world needs to know what's going on in the United States. Okay, so that's the significance of what's happening. Tracy Banks is not having a meeting with every third party. It's impossible. She's not having a meeting with all the demons on the 10 West Freeway while she's driving me to any third-party facilitating venue. That's not what's going on. This is demon possession. This is the ability of Satan, who is a spirit, who has, he needs bodies, he needs vessels, he uses the people of the state. And this is exposing, again, a wide ability to recognize what is far reaching far and wide demon possession. Many people are under this condition in the state of California, and I'm just prosecuting in California, so that's why I'm limiting it here. But you should know what Satan is doing in California. It is not limited to the jurisdiction of California. This is what's happening amongst the governments in the states of the U.S. This is what's happening nationally in this country. This is what's happening in the world. Okay, so I just want to give greater context. Obviously, what Satan is doing is not going to be limited to California. That's the significance also regarding what corruption is underway in the state of California and the fact that it's demonic. And this is giving greater implication for what's going on in the world right now. And Satan wants you to be ignorant about that. Okay, so this is speaking to demonic activity.
ZJT584. The entity's talking about airplane. Very small white plane flying over Haven Market. It's amplified in sound. That's how I know this small little plane is present, which is the P.O.C. fake sun over my head. And look who's dropping me off. This is P.O.C. She's monitoring. This is a psychopath that would target their own daughter. This is also demonic activity against one's own daughter. Yes. This is P.O.C.
Okay, and so what's going on at 9:26, I want to be clear, the light source that is over me, I just use this video in order to capture. The entity is keeping a fake sun over me from the beginning to the end of the day. There's no sun that would ever be, no natural environment, there's no sun. Remember, I referenced the light source, not the sun. We've been told about a so-called natural environment, about the movement of the sun. That's on its face impossible to be the natural environment, because it's remaining over my apartment, as I just documented yesterday on Sunday. If I don't leave my apartment, that light source does not leave my apartment. Okay, it's nowhere in Rancho Cucamonga. You can see through the windshields and the windows of the property while I'm here at Alvarado Gardens. This is a great contrast as you are comparing crime scenes, and then you are able to identify the condition of government actors who are engaging in criminal surveillance with the people of the state. All right, maintaining an environment all around me, and there's no point where that light source ceases to remain over me. And while I'm in Los Angeles in Alvarado Gardens, this is what I'm documenting step by step on an ongoing basis. As I go to the courthouse at Rancho Cucamonga, 8303 North Haven Avenue, so does that light source over me, moving as I move, remaining where I remain, which is what demons are doing in helicopters. What demons are doing in helicopters, demons are doing with the people of the state who are that same condition. Crossing in path is light activity. Crossing in path is relevant. They represent communication devices where surveillance is underway, keeping me surrounded at all costs, at all times. All right. The entity is doing so as I go to your favorite Panera Bread. Okay. They're group stalking. They are engaged in preparing your food, and they're doing so in the United States. They're engaged in federal stalking, and the fake sun remains over me at Panera Bread. Impossible light activity. This is surrounding by a bunch of demons who are in the role of what is employee, preparing the food that you like, food that you enjoy, and those that are consuming it, coming to buy it, and they're group stalking you. And you don't need to know their names. You recognize them by their deeds in that unnatural environment where the sun would never be capable of being present there, while it's remaining over me here at Alvarado Gardens, where the entity is also engaging in stalking in helicopters.
There's the fake sun. We're at P.O.C. And all of the state is group stalking with the state that's using helicopters to engage in the pattern of conduct. So that's the people of the state that are group stalking. So the entity...
That's my apartment building over there, by the way. There is no sun in alignment to my living room window. What you see right here in alignment with my person is not in alignment with where I would be able to see the this light source outside of my living room window. This is not in a position where I can see it outside of my living room window. You're aware of the wall that obstructs my view to be able to see to the right, which is the direction of my leasing office. This fake sun moves as I move, and you know that because it's still over my apartment, over the top of my head as I step outside of my front door, as I aim my camera outside of my living room window during the 10 o'clock hour. Being outside of my leasing office window, being in alignment with my leasing office is entirely impossible. It's mutually exclusive, and there's a movement of that light source. It's not in alignment with my living room window and my leasing office window, and it's certainly not over Panera Bread in Rancho Cucamonga, California. The sun is also not going to be at one address at the end of the day, contrary to what I'm documenting every day in the workplace at Alvarado Gardens Apartments at 1800 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California. This is speaking to a very specific and federal prosecution of the state of California, and it is in conformity to a pattern of conduct that I've been documenting, as you can see, even back in 2022. The pattern of conduct has not ceased. And that's relevant to how severe Dominic Choi's prosecution is going to be. How severe, all right? And it includes disbanding of terrorist organizations. This is a threat to the public, not a mere matter of corruption, and you suspend them for a little bit and they can perhaps relocate and go to another state and start over at another no, you are forever done with law enforcement. You will never be able to bear weapons lawfully in this country, and there is no jurisdiction where you can go and be a part of a police department or have anything to do with law enforcement or have any position in the public where it is you work or where you live outside of a criminal record that will follow you, so that it is for the benefit of the public, that they know who you are, where you intend to work, and whether or not you can actually work there pursuant to a background check like every other criminal, every other sex offender. All right, this is and those are the terrorists that are naturally born here. Those that are not naturally born here, they're being deported out of this country. And I mean those that are part of the law of the LAPD right now, you're going to be deported. If you were granted the privilege to be here and you're not even a natural born citizen, you have found out you will be deported. Okay, these are some of the many repercussions of engaging in terrorism in the U.S. And this is serving for deterrence. It's serving for disincentivizing engaging in terrorism in this country. And it's also speaking to, it's not only sending a message to those that are in America, but those that are abroad. Those are outside of the gates of America. And they need to understand what is not acceptable, despite what the government is doing to its own citizens. It's hypocrisy, and it's the federal government responding to the hypocrisy, our own hypocrisy. It's necessary. And it's also necessary in order to dispel this darkness that seeks to hide itself in this country amongst the people. All right. You cannot eradicate darkness and keep it hidden. You have to, in every regard, shine light, remove any aspect for any darkness to hide. That's necessary. Remember, this is not only criminal conduct, this is of Satan. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're aware of this, and this is occurring at your neighborhood Panera. I hate to break that to you. I like Coffee Bean myself. I've gotten drinks there plenty of times, but you need to be mindful of those that are of this condition, and they're preparing your foods. They are working around your food. They are preparing your drinks, and they're monitoring you. And I want to be clear, having this spirit on them, they are inherently hostile to you, and they don't need to have a logical reason for it. It doesn't exist. Group stalking is not based on something you did wrong, and there is nothing that you can do that will ever justify in court, by the way, or in the court of public opinion. There's no justifying terrorizing, psychologically tormenting, targeting an American citizen, a person, a human being. There's no justifying it, and you're doing it because you have the spirit of Satan on you, by the way. Okay, so I just want to point this out. The entity is maintaining a light source over me as I go into Panera Bread, and this is nothing other than pacing around an engineered light. Okay, I want you to look at the shadow. You can see my hand here. I'm documenting a group stalker who's keeping their back to me, monitoring on the venue of the internet, communication device behind their back, impossible light activity inside of Panera Bread. How is that light activity that's ever going to occur while the sun is over me in Los Angeles, California? This is captured at 9:17 in the morning. You know that the light source is remaining over me here at Alvarado Gardens. This is impossible light activity. This is the light source. You can see it glaring through the windshields of these vehicles in Rancho Cucamonga. All right, it is clearly over the hillside here where LAPD is providing evidence against a whole entity while it practices the same system and knows every aspect of the documentation that that is being published against, that's being gathered. And because you engage in terrorism to the demise of an American citizen and having no lawful purpose or authority or jurisdiction to do so, with the intent to threaten and terrorize and harass that person, including in the workplace, that's directly relevant to how severe your federal prosecution will be. This just follows. This is what justice requires. Okay? And I'm sorry, actually I'm not sorry. This is naturally going to follow with regard to judgment. Remember, this is not just criminal conduct. This is the work of Satan. Satan's work amongst the people, as you have extended yourself, it's being judged. It's being exposed, and it's being judged by the Lord Jesus himself. All right, so I want to make sure that you are aware. This is where an entity at 9:50, there's no sun that's going to be over this third party driving an AB1 Anheuser-Busch sales and distribution company. They're group stalking, in case you didn't know. Not different from FedEx, not different from UPS. It's just a different logo name. Same P.O.C. Same P.O.C. Same demon possession, using a commercial vehicle, stalking in the path with light activity. All I do is get the license plate. I'm documenting because I'm going to sue you. That's a threat to my life. Okay, and they're doing it on behalf of corrupt law enforcement agencies, the state itself, where this surveillance state is already underway while I'm at the intersection of Day Creek and Foothill and Rancho Cucamonga at 9:55 in the morning. It's 10 o'clock right now. So let me show you where the entity is stalking in helicopters, serving for the prosecution of the people of the state that live at Alvarado Gardens. The entity that's engaging in terrorism everywhere that I go is living at a crime scene, and they're going to federal prison for it. This is not over an Anheuser-Busch 1 vehicle at Day Creek and Foothill Boulevard. This is outside of my leasing office window, which is not in alignment with my bedroom window at the same property. Nor is it the sun, even as you isolate the venue and just keep it here, because the sun, the light source is still here at the end of the day, which is how I'm able to capture the ongoing engineered environment where a demon such as Brian Sutt, who knows that he's been previously documented, so this demon engages in an act to his own demise. So you see even more ridiculous light activity on the side of his car while he is stalking a young woman, being a sex offender, and proudly doing so on behalf of a government. These sort of terrorists are going to be deported out of this country. This is impossible light activity on the side of his car, and it's also impossible light activity on the top of his car. And see, because this is not sunlight, you're recognizing the unnatural environment. And at 6:59 p.m., this light source is still at the same property, and you can see through the windshield of a vehicle. And this is a demon, just like one driving an Anheuser-Busch vehicle, crossing path, creating light activity, moving around, pacing around a vehicle in a parking lot. And I want to be clear, this is particularly disturbing and pathetic for a human being to engage in. This is an aged man. I want to be clear, this is creepy and sick on its face. He's being a sex offender right now, and he is acting in concert with everybody else that lives at Alvarado Gardens. They're all going to federal prison for it. This is impossible light activity on my ceiling, not the product of sunlight, but you see the light source through vehicles parked at this property where you're looking at the light source outside of my leasing office, the same property where LAPD is stalking in a helicopter, and doing so while I have the right to not be subject to terrorism and harassment and intimidation by a government and a people in the workplace. There is no existing legislation or statute to provide for my recovery, okay? To compensate me for the tangible and intangible harms that I continue to suffer. Oh, but prosecution requires we will address it, okay? But I want to be clear, speaker companies, you don't have the money in order to compensate for the level of harm that I've been subject to for a year and counting. But I've been subject to this pattern of conduct for longer than 1 year. I've just been in the workplace with under the people of the state going by the name of speaker companies, not distinct by the people of the state who are FedEx, nor distinct from the people of the state who are Amazon Prime, nor distinct from the people of the state who are Anheuser-Busch 1 company. It's not different. It's just like demon possession, multiplicity of faces, same spirit. So you're understanding the demon possessed who are using company names, commercial actors to engage in the same demonic system with the same public entity. This is a federal group stalking and monitoring that I'm prosecuting. All right, and so this is what the entity is doing, and I just wanted to give you context regarding not only is this fake sun not in Rancho Cucamonga, that's speaking to the prosecution. Literally, as I'm capturing the fake sun that's remaining over my front door at 2:44 in the morning. Understand where I'm facing right now. This is my front door, and it's over my head at my front door. This direction right here is where I'm standing on the ground, though it's too heightened up because I'm on the 3rd floor. But that's the direction I'm facing, the opposite direction in this video where LAPD is flying over me. This is the direction that I'm facing in this video. And so you're talking about, this is the fake sun now. So as I face this direction, hold on, as I face this direction, this is direction, the fake sun is still over my head at my apartment at 2:44 in the afternoon. That's the P.O.C. This is the environment where an entity is engaged in stalking, harassment, intimidation, threatening my life expressly and impliedly, while you are doing so with the people of the state and fully aware of the fact that I am documenting it. And that will be directly relevant to how long you sit in federal prison. Okay, the unapologetic sentencing is commensurate with the unapologetic acts of kidnapping, threatening, psychological torture, harassment, criminal defamation, and doing so for years. It's not just limited to what I'm subject to in the workplace at speaker companies or what I'm subject to in my apartment provided by speaker companies in my position as property manager. It's not limited to that. This is the entity that's group stalking me in the workplace. Understand that. Okay, so this is the same location. And at 2:44, the fake sun is documented over my head Yesterday, that's where it was at 2:44. This is not the sun. Demons are stalking me in helicopters, as they've been doing so for years, as I continuously document to date in 2024. All right, it is currently 10:05 a.m. This is P.O.C.